ATA Airlines, ATA Airlines, Inc., formerly known as American Trans Air and commonly referred to as ATA, was an American low-cost scheduled service and charter airline based in Indianapolis, Indiana. ATA operated scheduled passenger flights throughout the U.S. mainland and Hawaii and San Juan, Puerto Rico, as well as military and commercial charter flights around the world. ATA also operated flights to Portugal, Elias, Opo, Tur, PDL, and SMA. In its early days, the airline flew charters on a worldwide basis and had bases in Chicago, Detroit, New York, Indianapolis, Oakland, and Milwaukee. Later, when it entered scheduled service, the airline maintained focus cities at Chicago Midway International Airport, Honolulu International Airport, and Oakland International Airport. The airline's parent company, New ATA Holdings, Inc., the successor to ATA Holdings, Inc., which was also once known as Amtran, later changed its name to Global Aero Logistics, Inc., and purchased World Air Holdings, Inc., for $315 million in an all-cash transaction with the financial backing of the investment firm World Air Holdings, Inc., owned and operated North American Airlines and World Airways as two separate U.S. certified air carriers. ATA was North America's largest charter airline and until its shutdown transported more troops for the United States military than any other commercial airline. On April 2, 2008, ATA filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. ATA then announced it was ceasing all services effective 4/0 EDT Thursday, April 3, 2008, citing the unexpected loss of a major contract for its military charter business as a subcontractor of FedEx Express, along with recent increases in jet fuel prices. Red-eye flights in the air at the time of the announcement proceeded to their destinations. Flight 4586 from Honolulu to Phoenix was the last ATA flight. Southwest Airlines owns and retains all ownership of the operating certificate and all assets held by ATA Airlines, including trademarks, logos, etc. These were purchased for $7.05 million by Southwest while ATA was operating under bankruptcy protection. History. Early years. ATA was established in February 1973 as Ambassador Travel Club. Its first aircraft was a Boeing 720 named Miss Indy, with a second Boeing 720 Spirit of Indiana added in 1978. ATA received its Common Air Carrier Certificate in March 1981. Operations started as a charter carrier in 1981 with a fleet of 8 Boeing 707s based in Indianapolis, Indiana. In 1983, American Transair introduced its first McDonnell Douglas DC-10, a Series -10, and was followed in 1984 by another, a long-range Series -40. Amtran, Inc. was founded by owner J. George Michelsons in 1984 as the holding company for Ambassador, ATA, and any future subsidiaries. The airline replaced the 707s with Boeing 727-100 trijets in 1984 and added Rolls-Royce-powered Lockheed L-1011 TriStar wide-body jetliners, most of which were ex-Delta Airlines and TWA in 1985, and Boeing 757-200s in 1980. ATA was an all-charter airline flying to destinations all over the world. American Transair started its first scheduled service in 1986 between Indianapolis, Indianapolis International Airport, and Fort Myers, Florida Southwest Florida International Airport. Expansion. In 1990, ATA began scheduled nonstop service from New York JFK Airport to Belfast, Northern Ireland in the United Kingdom, with continuing direct one-stop service to Riga, Latvia with Boeing 757-200 aircraft. The founder of ATA is of Latvian ancestry. The Latvia service was unprofitable and was discontinued after a few years. ATA performed services for the United States Department of Defense and U.S. military during the 1991 Gulf War, transporting 108,000 military personnel on 494 missions for Operation Desert Storm and yet again during Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom with the activation of the Civil Reserve A. During these periodic activations, ATA flight crews often and routinely spent as many as 19 hours aboard ATA aircraft in support of U.S. troops and the overall national defense missions. ATA-1011 aircraft were also chartered by the Department of Defense to fly personnel and their families between Philadelphia International Airport and Lajes Field, Naval Air Station Sigonella, Aviano Air Base, and Incirlik Air Base, called Freedom Flights by personnel returning to the U.S. from these overseas installations. In February 1991, ATA won a contract for daily 727-100 shuttle operations between Nellis Air Force Base and Tonopah Test Range in Nevada. This particular contract, formerly operated by defunct Key Airlines, was awarded to ATA and ended in late 1992 when Tonopah F-117 stealth fighter operations ceased. The 727-100s were replaced with Boeing 727-200s in 1993. Also in 1993, according to the official airline guide OAG, ATA was operating scheduled passenger service between New York JFK Airport and Lagos, Nigeria via a stop at Santa Maria Island in the Azores with a Lockheed L-1011 tri-star wide-body jetliner. By the mid-1990s, ATA began focusing on increasing its domestic scheduled services, including Hawaii, as well as international routes to Mexico and the Caribbean based on leisure travel, and began using the slogan, "On Ata, you're on vacation." The airline began operating a sizable hub at Chicago Midway International Airport and offered scheduled services throughout the United States, as well as flights to Hawaii, Mexico, and the Caribbean, while continuing extensive military and government contract air charter flights. ATA also began a twice-weekly charter service from Orlando to both London Gatwick Airport and Manchester in the UK. All services operated via Gander in eastern Canada, where the aircraft would refuel. Most seats were reserved by UK tour operator Travel City Direct, who specialized in Florida fly drive vacations. Travel City boasted higher luggage allowances, complimentary meals and snacks, plus leather seats. Remaining seats were often filled by American military staff. Services to the UK ceased in 2002 when Travel City switched to another airline, Air Atlanta Europe. In 2000, ATA placed a large order for 39 new Boeing 737-800 aircraft and 12 Boeing 757-300 aircraft to expand its fleet for additional flights. That year, the airline also began scheduled flights to Mexico and was designated as a major carrier by the United States Department of Transportation. In June 2001, ATA received the delivery of their first new aircraft, Boeing 737-800, registered as in 301 TZ. In August of that same year, ATA first 757-300 was registered in 550 TZ, and the airline also introduced a new logo on these new airplanes, replacing ATA as a vacation airline and putting more emphasis on ATA as a business airline. After 2001, the 737-800, with their ETOPS capabilities, became the fleet's mainstay of ATA medium-haul operations from the West Coast to and from Hawaii and Mexico. Chicago Express/ATA connection. In 2000, ATA and Chicago Express Airlines launched ATA Connection, a regional affiliate of ATA Airlines that would link regional Midwestern cities with ATA Chicago Hub and Indianapolis Focus City. Chicago Express was purchased for $1.09 million on June 1, 1999, and operated as a separate subsidiary. After ATA entered bankruptcy in late 2004, a decision was made to end ATA regional airline service and terminate Chicago Express/ATA connection, resulting in the permanent layoff of its entire staff. Chicago Express assets were auctioned off, ATA terminated its ATA connection turboprop service, and Chicago Express ceased all operations on March 28, 2005. American Transair. The similarity of the American Transair and Airtran Airways names to those of other airlines caused confusion among customers and the general public. The airline had been known informally as ATA from early in its history, and from the mid-1990s on had been advertised as such, so in 2002 the name of the holding company was changed to ATA Holdings Corp. In 2003, the name of the airline itself was changed to ATA Airlines, Inc. In 2007, ATA Holdings changed names again, this time to Global Aero Logistics, Inc., immediately after the acquisition of World Air Holdings. First bankruptcy. Final years. Following its first emergence from Chapter 11 protection, ATA made several efforts to return to profitability, but due to the rising cost of fuel and negative pressures on ticket price, ATA was unable to recover and ended operations on April 2, 2008. These late efforts included 2006, ATA commenced service between Houston's William P. Hobby Airport HOU and New York's LaGuardia Airport LGA. ATA initiated new flights out of Oakland, California, Ontario, California, and Hilo, Hawaii on April 28, 2006. In support of its codeshare agreement with Southwest Airlines, ATA moved its operations in the greater San Francisco area from San Francisco International Airport to Oakland International Airport. ATA introduced several new flights from the west coast of the United States to and from Hawaii, including the only nonstop service between Hilo, Hawaii, and the mainland United States. ATA announced they would purchase 9 of Northwest Airlines' remaining DC-10-30s. These aircraft were to be used on military troop charters, replacing ATA aging L-10-11-500 fleet. ATA planned to enter 7 of the planes into service, mothballing the remainder for parts. 2007, ATA Airlines announced that Sabad Karnik would become ATA new president and chief executive officer CEO, replacing John G. Dennison, who continued as ATA chairman of the board of directors. ATA for the first time in 3 years added several flights to and from its Chicago MDW hub. ATA parent company, ATA Holdings, announced on April 5, 2007 that it would change its name to Global Aero Logistics, Inc., in a move that, according to then CEO Sabad Karnik, better reflects the company's diverse worldwide operations. That same day, Global Aero Logistics, Inc., announced an agreement to acquire World Air Holdings, Inc., and its subsidiaries World Airways and North American Airlines for $315 million in cash. Each airline, as stated in the official announcement, was to keep operating independently. With the acquisition of World Airways and the holding company's organizational name change to Global Aero Logistics, it was decided that 3 of the planned 9 DC-10s acquired by ATA would be transferred directly to World Airways operating certificate, resulting in employee layoffs at ATA. Starting in October 2007, ATA announced they would terminate service on several routes affecting Chicago Midway International Airport, Washington, D.C., Reagan National Airport, New York, NY LaGuardia Airport, and Ontario, Ontario International Airport. 2008. In March 2008, Sabad Karnik resigned as CEO, and former CEO and chairman of the board John G. Dennison served as acting CEO until ATA demise. No public reason was given for Karnik's departure, but the airline's financial problems coupled with the poor execution of the purchase of several DC-10s for use as military charters was rumored to have been a factor. 2010. A federal jury for the U.S. District Court in Indianapolis says FedEx must pay $66 million to now defunct ATA Airlines, saying the package delivery company broke a contract that ultimately pushed ATA into bankruptcy. $22 million for lost profit in 2008 and $44 million for lost profit in 2009. However, in December 2011, a federal appellate court in Chicago reversed the $66 million judgment against FedEx. Second bankruptcy and demise. On April 2, 2008, ATA declared bankruptcy and ceased all operations. This sudden end came about after FedEx abruptly canceled ATA long-standing military charter contract. Combined with a significant increase in the price of jet fuel, ATA did not have enough capital to stay in business. It was the third of 4 U.S. airlines to announce a complete shutdown in the week of March 30, 2008, after Aloha Airlines did so on March 30, Minnesota-based charter Champion Air did so March 31, and Skybus Airlines terminated service on April 5. The shutdown of ATA took effect at 4:00 EDT Thursday, April 3, 2008, although some flights were airborne at the time and continued to their destinations, with the final arrival being ATA Flight 4586 from Honolulu to Phoenix, which landed at 8:46 MMST, or 7 hours. At the time of the shutdown, ATA employed around 2,300 people, all of whom were permanently laid off. According to press reports, up to 10,000 passengers were affected, and many of them had to scramble for help on several airlines. Most of them, however, had to pay for new tickets. On November 19, 2008, Southwest Airlines announced their intent to acquire the remaining assets of ATA Airlines. The $7.05 million bid includes the rights to 14 slots at LaGuardia Airport that belonged to ATA, as well as various other assets such as trademarks and logos. Southwest specifically stated their bid doesn't include any aircraft, facilities, or employees of ATA. Destinations. At the time of its shutdown, ATA Airlines served 13 destinations throughout Mexico and the United States. All routes were discontinued on April 2, 2008 due to ATA bankruptcy filing, with the exception of some en route red-eye flights, which arrived on April 3. With ATA additions of Kona and Lihue, Hawaii in June 2007, the airline was serving more Hawaiian destinations nonstop from the mainland United States than any other airline in the world at the time. Scheduled passenger service to a number of destinations listed below was discontinued prior to ATA bankruptcy. At its peak, ATA served 35 destinations worldwide. Some destination information has been taken from ATA route maps from 1994 to 2003. Caribbean excluding U.S. territories. Aruba Queen Beatrix International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Grand Cayman Owen Roberts International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Montego Bay, Jamaica Sangster International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Nassau, Bahamas Lyndon Pindling International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Punta Cana, Dominican Republic Punta Cana International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Ireland. Dublin Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Shannon Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Latvia. Riga International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Mexico. Cancun International Airport service originally scheduled to end June 7, 2008. Guadalajara Don Miguel Hidalgo, Huaycostilla International Airport service originally scheduled to end June 7, 2008. Ixtapa Zihuatanejo International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Puerto Vallarta Lic. Gustavo Diaz Ordaz International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Bankruptcies. Nigeria. Lagos Murtala Muhammad International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Northern Ireland, UK and UK. Belfast International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. United States. Boston Logan International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Charlotte, NC Charlotte/Douglas International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Chicago Midway International Airport, hub service originally scheduled to end June 7, 2008. Dallas/Fort Worth International Airport service originally scheduled to end April 14, 2008. Denver International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Fort Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Fort Myers, Southwest Florida International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Hilo, Hawaii International Airport. Honolulu, Honolulu International Airport, Focus City. Houston, TX George Bush Intercontinental Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Houston, TX William P. Hobby Airport. Indianapolis International Airport, hub service ended prior to bankruptcy. ATA was also headquartered in Indianapolis. Kahului, Hawaii Kahului Airport, Focus City. Kailua, Hawaii Kona International Airport. Las Vegas McCarran International Airport. Lihu, Hawaii Liha Airport. Los Angeles International Airport. Miami International Airport. Milwaukee General Mitchell International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Newark, New Jersey Newark Liberty International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. New York City John F. Kennedy International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. New York City LaGuardia Airport. Oakland International Airport, Focus City. Ontario International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Orlando International Airport. Philadelphia International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Phoenix, AZ Sky Harbor International Airport. Pittsburgh International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Portland International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. St. Louis, Missouri St. Louis Lambert International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. St. Petersburg/Clearwater St. Petersburg Clearwater International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. Year to bankruptcies. Bankruptcies. Salt Lake City, UT Salt Lake City International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. San Diego, CA San Diego International Airport. San Francisco International Airport. San Jose, CA San Jose International Airport. Sarasota, Sarasota Bradenton International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Seattle SeaTac International Airport. Tampa, Tampa International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. Washington, D.C. Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. West Palm Beach, FL Palm Beach International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. U.S. Insular areas in the Caribbean. St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands Henry E. Rolson Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands Cyril E. King International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcies. San Juan, Puerto Rico Luis Munoz Marin International Airport service ended prior to bankruptcy. ATA also flew charter flights to London Gatwick Airport, London Stansted Airport, and Manchester, UK via technical stops in Gander, Newfoundland in Canada. ATA connection destinations. Commuter air carrier Chicago Express Airlines operating as the ATA connection served the following destinations with British Aerospace B Jetstream 31 and / sub 340B commuter tour. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 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 Iowa. Chicago Midway Airport Hub, Port Hub. Dayton, Ohio. Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa. Evansville, Indiana. Flint, Michigan. Grand Rapids, 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 Green Bay, Indianapolis, Lansing, 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 Lexington, Madison, Wyson, 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 Madison, Wyson, Milwaukee, Moline, South Bend, Indiana. Springfield, Toledo, Ohio. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Gary, Indiana, slated to open in 2005. However, the cessation of operations prevented this new service. USA Latin Sky. On March 15, 2008, ATA was supposed to resume service to Miami International Airport and fly scheduled flights to Central America for the first time, with the addition of flights to Guatemala City and San Jose, Costa Rica. USA Latin Sky was to market the airline's flights to Central American destinations from Miami. As part of the deal, ATA Airlines would have based a single Boeing 737-800 aircraft in Miami to fly the routes to Guatemala City and San Jose. Due to problems with ATA and USA Latin Sky, the service was canceled prior to commencing, and no flights under USA Latin Sky ever operated. Fleet. At the time of its shutdown, ATA had 29 aircraft, 3 owned, 26 leased in its fleet. At its largest in October 2004, the company operated a fleet of 82 short, medium, and long-haul aircraft. As of August 2009, ATA average fleet age was 13.5 years old. ATA Boeing customer number was 3N. Fleet details at time of shutdown. The aircraft registration and tail numbers of the ATA fleet include the following significant aircraft. ATA received delivery of their first 737-800 and 301 TZ on June 4, 2001. ATA received delivery of their first 757-200 and 757 on November 16, 1989. ATA received delivery of their first 757-300 and 550 TZ on August 4, 2001. ATA received delivery of their first L-1011-500 and 963 on July 28, 1998. ATA received delivery of their first DC-10-30 and 701 TZ Freedom Bird on December 29, 2006. ATA L-1011-100-994 at crewed by FA out of DFW was the last ATA aircraft to feature a lower galley. Previously retired fleet. ATA ExecuJet, a Part 135 air taxi subsidiary of ATA Holdings, the parent company of ATA Airline, also retired the following aircraft in 2001. Bell 206L Long Ranger, owned by ATA founder J. George Michelson's. Cessna Citation Roman II, Roman Gulfstream I, Dream I, Learjet 35. Affinity programs. ATA Travel Awards. Launched in 2003, ATA Frequent Flyer Program. ATA Travel Awards offered one of the lowest thresholds for earning travel, with the added benefit of allowing reward redemption free of blackout date restrictions. After 3 round trips booked on the company's website, customers earned a coach companion ticket on any flight operated by ATA Airlines throughout the contiguous United States. All tickets booked online received double credit toward that particular trip versus purchasing through a telephone or travel agent. While award availability to Hawaii was very limited, travelers did earn twice the normal number of credits when they purchased airfare on Hawaii-bound flights. With the shutdown of operations, ATA frequent flyer programs were suspended and all earned points voided. As a result of the recent enhancements in ATA codeshare agreement with Southwest Airlines, those purchasing flights directly from ATA reservations and ATA.com were given the option of earning points toward either ATA Travel Awards or Southwest's Rapid Rewards. When ATA ceased operations, the relationship with Southwest Airlines was effectively terminated. ATA Airlines Flight Bank. Launched in 2006, ATA created a unique program called Flight Bank, a rewards program for the frequent traveler between the U.S. mainland and the Hawaiian Islands. For a set fee, the bank provided the traveler with a flexible number of flight credits that could be used over the course of a year at vastly reduced savings and with no blackout dates for advance bookings. The Flight Bank program was preceded by the AirPass program, which was run informally by Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays from 2000 to 2006. With the shutdown of operations, ATA Flight Bank program was also suspended. Service. Although ATA Airlines was marketed and advertised as a low-cost carrier, it maintained many of the features which marked this airline as full service, at least by the standards American and European travelers have become accustomed to. Unlike many discount airline carriers in Europe, ATA offered complimentary features such as window shades and reclining airline seats on all of its airplanes, leather seats on most of its airplanes, adjustable headrest wings on many of its planes, limited AVOD audio-visual on-demand systems, complimentary assigned seating, complimentary checked luggage. ATA sold snacks and snack packs under the label Skyway Cafe. Upon military and most charter flights, ATA provided fully complimentary airline meals or, depending upon flight length, snacks. On some flights, it provided in-flight entertainment such as documentaries, comedies, classic television, music videos, and music. ATA aircraft included up to 8 audio channels. Some flights over 5 hours included films. Codeshare agreements. At the time of its shutdown, ATA Airlines had a codeshare agreement with Southwest Airlines. As far back as 2001, ATA explored a passenger sharing agreement with a now defunct airline called Access Air, which also had Midwestern United States flight operations. This agreement was short-lived due to the tedious economic condition of this post-deregulation startup carrier. The ATA connection service flown by commuter air carrier Chicago Express Airlines was also operated on a codeshare basis. ATA was not involved in an alliance. Southwest Airlines is ATA Airlines, one of Southwest Airlines' main competitors in the Chicago market, historically operated out of Midway Airport alongside Southwest. After ATA declared bankruptcy in 2004, Southwest injected capital into ATA that, among other things, would have resulted in Southwest's 27.5% ownership stake in ATA upon their exit from Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings. In a departure from its traditional go-it-alone strategy, Southwest entered into its first domestic code-sharing arrangement with ATA, which enabled Southwest Airlines to serve ATA markets in Hawaii, Washington, D.C., and New York City. Some years earlier, Southwest had a short-lived traditional codeshare arrangement with Icelandair at Baltimore/Washington International Airport. In late 2005, ATA secured $100 million in committed financing from the firm of MatlinPatterson, and Southwest's original deal with ATA was modified such that Southwest no longer retained the 27.5% stake or any other financial interest in ATA. The codeshare arrangement was expanded, with some internal controversy, to include all of ATA domestic destinations and more than 60 of Southwest's 63 destinations. In 2006, Southwest's pilot union approved a codeshare side letter to their contract with limitations on the growth of this and other codeshare agreements. While these restrictions today are minor, outsourcing remains a growing concern in the union's current contract negotiations. In 2006, Southwest Airlines, flight code WN, began marketing ATA two-letter TZ-coded flights. ATA dependence on the Southwest network continued to grow in 2006 to where ATA offered over 70 flights a week to Hawaii from Southwest's focus cities in PHX, Los Lacs, and Oak. Additional connecting service was available to many other cities across the United States. Plans had been announced for ATA to offer exclusive international service for Southwest by 2010. In 2006, ATA announced its intention to purchase 9 wide-body DC-10 aircraft from Northwest Airlines. Southwest took over all ground operations for ATA at MDW, Oak, PHX, Lacs, and Los. These contracts provided that Southwest ramp personnel would now handle all ground operations for ATA loading of aircraft, ground servicing, etc. The details of these contracts were not made public, but represented Southwest's and ATA growing codeshare relationship. In February 2005, after J. George Michelson stepped down as CEO of ATA Airlines, John Dennison, Southwest's former chief financial officer, took over. Effective January 1, 2007, Dennison turned things over to Sabad Karnik, who became president and chief executive officer. Dennison remained chairman of Global Aero Logistics, Inc., and was renamed as interim president and CEO when Sabad Karnik stepped down in March 2008. Livery. In ATA Airlines' 35-year history, the airline had 3 different mainline liveries and 2 special liveries. Mainline liveries and logos. Final flag. ATA last livery, known as the flag livery, was introduced when the airline announced rapid expansion in 2001. It is primarily white with ATA painted on both sides of the aircraft. The company logo was also slanted upward on the aircraft tail, resembling a flag. There was a gold stripe that spanned across the outward side of the engines and nacelles, and the winglets on the 737-800s were blue on the outside and unpainted on the inside. This livery was first introduced on ATA new 737-800 and 757-300 aircraft, and while it has been integrated onto some of ATA 700. Vacation/holiday palm tree. At the time of ATA demise, many 757-200s and some Lockheed L-1011s still carried the airline's previous livery. The palm tree livery, which was introduced in 1996, was also primarily white with ATA painted on both sides of the aircraft. The letters were painted in a bubble-like fashion. There was a palm tree and a sun on the tail, as well as ATA in small letters. The engine nacelles were painted blue, with the outboard side of each nacelle displaying a stylized sun. This livery, introduced to emphasize ATA as a vacation airline, was synonymous with the phrase on ATA, "You're on vacation." Original runway. ATA original livery, known as the runway livery, was introduced when the airline began passenger service in 1981. Because ATA first aircraft were ex-American Airlines aircraft, ATA original livery was based on American's livery. The livery featured 3 stripes running the length of the aircraft in the following order: gold, white, and blue. The words American Trans Air followed by ATA runway logo were painted above the gold stripe on the fuselage. The aircraft tail also featured gold, white, and blue stripes along the bottom, with the bigger ATA runway logo in the center. All of ATA Boeing 707s and a majority of the airline's 727s, 757-200s, and Lockheed L-1011s wore this livery at some point. This livery was painted on every ATA aircraft until 1996. Making this ATA longest-lasting livery at 15 years. Special liveries. Throughout ATA Airlines history, the company had 2 dedicated paint schemes. In addition to these, ATA first Boeing 737-800 had the words American Dream inscribed alongside the nose of the aircraft. Other schemes were used to celebrate the company's 25th anniversary, as well as a marketing deal with Hawaiian tour operator Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. 25th anniversary. In 1998, ATA Airlines celebrated its 25th anniversary. The airline decided to commemorate the anniversary in a big way. In addition to a year-long celebration, 2 separate aircraft, in 772, at a Boeing 727-200 and in 520 at a Boeing 757-200 were given a special livery, which was commonly referred to as the 25th anniversary scheme. The design featured the entire airplane painted blue with 25th anniversary painted in large gold writing near the front of the aircraft fuselage. The aircraft tail featured ATA in gold lettering with pieces of confetti scattered around the ATA logo. Red, orange, pink, and yellow streamers adorned the sides of the fuselage as well as the engines. Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. In 1994, ATA partnered with tour operator Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays, which was the largest tour operator flying to Hawaii. To promote the alliance, several L-1011s were adorned in a Hawaiian livery. The Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays livery has appeared only on 2 types of ATA aircraft: the Lockheed L-1011 and later the Boeing 757-300. The livery had 2 different forms. The more extravagant was painted on the Lockheed L-1011s. The livery was primarily white and featured ATA in big bubble letters near the front of the aircraft, and Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays spelled out after ATA near the top of the fuselage. Like the mainline livery, the engines were painted with a sun. The livery basically resembled the palm tree livery that mainline aircraft adorned at the time. There was one big difference. Hawaii was spelled out in large letters horizontally across the aircraft tail. After the Elminus 1011s were removed from scheduled service in 2002, two Boeing 757-300s were painted in the Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays livery. The elaborate tri-star livery was replaced with a toned-down livery. The new livery was ATA current livery with the words Pleasant Holidays painted in small letters near the front of the fuselage. This livery and ATA partnership with Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays was terminated in 2005 when Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays signed a larger network deal with United Airlines. Incidents and accidents. On May 12, 1996, a Boeing 727-290 and 775 operated as American Trans Air Flight 406, experienced a decompression at 33,000 feet. The flight, which was bound for St. Petersburg, Florida, made an emergency landing at the Indianapolis International Airport, Indianapolis, Indiana. On August 10, 1986, an ATA DC-10-40 parked at the ramp at Chicago O'Hare International Airport was destroyed by fire due to a mishandled loose oxygen canister. There were no fatalities. Gallery.